Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Suareezy here, back at you with another Market Mondays. Today we'll be going over why we need volume in addition to multiple candlesticks to prove that we have a support or resistance. All right, first up we have Bitcoin on the 24-hour time frame. And since we're talking about volume here today, let's go over last week's price action and where exactly we're sitting with Bitcoin at the moment. So we actually have this range bound zone that we're playing within. We actually had this nice upward trend that we actually broke down between, and we actually got 100% of that range. It actually was playing out. So we got the break of the monthly level from 17.2 down until about 16.2. So we had about $1,000 range that we're playing within right now with Bitcoin. And one of the main factors we're going to be going over this week is going to be the volume. Because one of the major factors, again, that we go over all the time, we have a range that we're playing within. We have this $1,000 range that we're playing within from our monthly level 17.2 to now the new low, which was 16.2. So whenever we get a breakout of either one of those zones, so if it's to the upside or to the downside, we are looking for one of the major factors, which is going to be volume. If we happen to get volume that is abnormal from the previous days, in this case, since we're on a 24-hour time frame, if we start to see volume that starts coming in, something like this or something like this, notice how that actually reacts to the price action itself, because we're actually having a lot more data that is actually being calculated here on the bigger time frame. And when you happen to get more volume on a bigger time frame, it's a lot more telling to see if the zone that we're going to be running into is going to be either support or resistance. And if we happen to get abnormal volume, just like we stated here and here, notice how price action reacted to those zones. If we can get multiple candlesticks to stay above that zone that we're trying to get through, notice right here we push through it, but then we end up just pulling right back down. If we can get above this with abnormal volume and multiple candlesticks holding this overall trend, then we could still be in for some nice upside movement to try to get us to our next monthly level up top, which is 19,666. But one of the major factors is going to be the volume. In the case that we don't get abnormal volume coming in and we actually get volume that looks like this, notice how that can actually mess with the price action here. If we start getting volume where sellers are actually taking control, then we can actually see this 100% move to the downside, which would obviously be that $1,000 range from 16.2 to about 15.2 to start. So again, one of the main things we're going to be looking at is going to be the volume. You want consistent volume if you're looking to utilize this monthly level as a support. If you're looking to utilize this as a resistance, then you're looking for a volume where sellers are actually going to be in control as opposed to the buyers being in control at this point. So one of the main things we're going to be looking at with Bitcoin this week. So that's going to be it for Bitcoin, and on to Ethereum. Before we jump into Ethereum, if you guys have not hit that like button, if you guys have not hit that subscribe button, make sure to hit those buttons. And if you guys have not turned on the alerts, make sure to turn those on, as it really does help out the channel so you guys can get informed whenever we have any new videos being dropped. Onto Ethereum. All right, next up we have Ethereum, and with Ethereum we pretty much have the same story that has been going on. We have the range that we had just broken out of, got 100% move from the monthly level, and we actually bottomed out at about 1150. So we have about $100 range that we're playing within, and notice whenever we want to break out of a range, we're looking for 100% of that move in that direction of the break. So how do we figure out what direction it's going to break? And that's what we're going to figure out today, and how we're going to be able to see if this zone is going to be utilized as a support zone or a resistance zone where it actually can reject. One of the major things we're going to be looking at is going to be the volume, and a few examples are going to be pointed out here. So notice here where we actually got abnormal volume right near a monthly level. Notice how that actually reacted right off with price action at this point. Another thing to the downside, when you get sellers that are actually taking control here, notice that type of price action that can actually happen at that point as well. So one of the main things here is to see, are we going to get consistent abnormal volume where buyers are actually going to take control, where we have multiple candlesticks that are holding above the monthly as opposed to just one single one, just like we had here. Because notice if we just went off one candlestick here, that could not have been a confirmation for a continuation. It was actually a fake out to that upside. So multiple candlesticks staying over that zone plus abnormal volume coming in at that point would solidify that as a support zone. But what would not solidify it as a support zone is if, again, we start seeing sellers that are actually taking control, and you would actually see candlesticks that would engulf these other candlesticks as well. So one of the main factors, again, to look at is the volume coming in and to see multiple candlesticks hold either over that zone or under that zone, depending on the perspective that you're looking to utilize this on. So again, one major factor to utilize going forward this week with Bitcoin and Ethereum is to check the volume across the daily candles. If you have abnormal volume that is coming in consistently, then ideally we can come back and retest the monthly of us. If we do not get abnormal volume that starts to come in, we can see a rejection for more downside move in the upcoming weeks. So make sure you guys consistently draw your trend lines. Make sure to take a look at that volume that we're talking about this week, and make sure to look at your monthly levels because we are near some very, very key monthly levels going forward. So you guys stay safe, and I will catch you on next week's Market Mondays.